Today is the day the kid cries and mom never finds out. Because not only are Luffy and Zoro about to throw down with the Pirate King's left-hand man, but the God's Knights are also summoning two more freaks to finally kick off their evil plan to conquer Elbaf. Luffy starts yelling all over the castle, calling for Loki's key like it is just gonna pop out and answer him. Meanwhile, Nami is even more desperate after searching every corner and not finding a single piece of treasure. Zoro complains they have already wasted way too much time, and even the guards had no clue where the key was. The only one who should know is Chief Jarul, but there is no way that Fossil would spill the beans even if you killed him, because freeing Loki is pretty much the biggest crime you could commit in all of Elbaf. Zoro says they still have not even decided if they are actually gonna free Loki. Luffy calls him naive, saying they did not go through all this trouble just to flex the key in Loki's face like, "Look what I got and you do not." Then Nami finds something and calls everyone over. Road instantly freaks out, saying that is the royal red carpet, a priceless treasure of Elbaf's nobility, which means they are standing inside the throne room where the king used to rule. Luffy is blown away by the size of the throne, and the whole place is wrecked from the battle that happened there. Road asks what that creepy mark on the floor is, but nobody else can even see it, so everyone climbs onto his hand to get a better view from above. That is when they finally spot the symbol left behind by the God's Knights when they teleported into Elbaf. Man, these people have the memory of a goldfish. They literally saw the exact same mark back on Egghead when the Five Elders showed up, and now they have already forgotten. Nami says she has seen symbols like that in books before. Some countries supposedly use them to summon demons. Luffy immediately starts calling for demons to show up, and Zoro calls him an idiot. Only then does the rubber monkey start feeling like he has seen that symbol somewhere before. He thinks so hard his brain is about to blue screen, but he still cannot remember. Out of nowhere, a deep voice calls Luffy's name, and he immediately thinks it is one of the demons. Road is already freaking out, convinced it is some ghost back for revenge. The coward flops onto the floor pretending to be dead, saying he never did anything to deserve this. Out of everyone there, he is definitely the one who deserves it the most. The voice says it has wanted to meet Luffy for a long time, and Luffy tells him to quit hiding. Instead, Captain Chicken bolts in the opposite direction. Then the mysterious man hurls an axe at him, telling him to stop. The giant slips, sending everyone flying. Luffy and Zoro land perfectly in a badass hero pose. Meanwhile, Nami is about to get turned into tomato paste. Luckily, Luffy stretches out, catches her midair, and gently drops the princess right into Zoro's arms. If Sanji saw that, he would flatline on the spot. Road instantly starts apologizing, but Nami says she is gonna kick his ass. And of course, that freak lights up like Christmas morning, already getting excited about it. Zoro asks where that axe came from. That is when they notice an old guy casually sitting on the armrest of the throne. The geezer is chugging a massive bottle of booze, and Road freezes, calling him Mr. Ya, a human living in Elbaf and a former pirate. Everyone is completely confused, and the old man says he sensed some ridiculous hockey coming from the castle earlier, so he came to check it out, only to find this bunch of goofballs running around. He says he has heard plenty about Straw Hat. After all, he is the guy who took down Kaido. Now he is actually tempted to visit Wano again after all these years. Luffy is shocked that the old-timer has actually been to Wano. Road explains that Mr. Ya is Ripley's husband, the teacher they met at the school. Luffy immediately goes, "So you are the dad of the only kid in Elbaf who is not a coward." The old man bursts out laughing, saying that is exactly his son. The blood of giant warriors runs through Colin's veins. He says he could not even hold the kid in his arms when he was born. But somehow, this old dog had no problem pulling a giant baddie like Ripley. He says Colin is 20 years old now, and Ripley might not look it, but she is already 80. Even though she is way older than him, he is the only one getting old. Nami is completely confused, wondering how in the world a giant and a human even make that work. The old man jumps down with a grin and says love can overcome any obstacle. Nami instantly gives him the same disgusted look she saves for Sanji. Still, throughout history, there have been plenty of relationships between different races. Heck, Big Mom alone had kids with 9 different races. Zoro says this bearded geezer knows way too much and asks who he really is. With all the drama of a samurai in a stage play, he proudly declares that he is none other than Cupid himself. Nami laughs in pure disbelief, calling him a total nutcase, while Luffy says he finally knows what Sanji is gonna look like when he gets old. Speaking of that simp, he is busy chugging giant cups of sake trying to impress 3 young giant girls. The girls are completely head over heels, saying he is the manliest guy they have ever seen. And just like that, this becomes the happiest day of Captain Simp's entire life. Even Jinbei starts laughing, already knowing the cook is definitely not sleeping alone tonight. After that, Oimo starts telling the story of an incredibly powerful pirate who sailed on the Pirate King's crew, and Usopp is instantly locked in, dying to hear the rest. Back at the castle, Luffy says he is looking for the key to Loki's chains. Road tells him he cannot just go around telling everyone that. There is no way Mr. Ya knows where it is. But the old geezer asks if he is really planning to free Loki, saying it actually sounds fun because he loves watching people stir up trouble. Everyone just stares at him in confusion, and Nami yells that this fossil is bad news. Meanwhile, Straw Hat starts doing his fake samurai act again, saying a secret is only worth having if you spread it around. The old man asks if they even know what kind of monster Loki really is. What are they going to do if he loses control? Luffy immediately says he will just beat the crap out of him and slap the chains back on. The old-timer explains that it was red-haired Shanks who captured Loki in the first place, and before Shanks showed up, nobody else could stop that monstrous giant. Then he asks if Luffy honestly thinks he can handle someone like that, or if he even knows what Loki is capable of. How many people are going to die before they manage to stop him? Even if they chain him up again, Elbaf could lose countless lives. But while the old man keeps listing all the dangers, Luffy completely ignores him and goes right back to looking for the key. Because if they let that fossil keep talking, he is going to be yapping until next year. This time, even Nami admits they should probably listen to the crazy geezer. But she also goes right back to searching for treasure. The old man bursts out laughing, saying this captain reminds him way too much of his own. He remembers Roger always complaining that he was sick of hearing his lectures. Rayleigh would stand beside him, telling the captain to think before charging into trouble. But of course, the Pirate King never took that kind of attitude. He would just tell them to try stopping him if they could. The old man laughs even harder, saying they really are exactly alike. Then he tells Road to push the throne aside. The giant has absolutely no clue what he is talking about. Back at the banquet, Oimo starts telling everyone about two legendary pirates who were Roger's right and left hands. Usopp immediately asks if there was someone besides Rayleigh. Back when Roger was recovering in a hospital deep in the mountains, that man stayed by his side. Then a whole army of enemies surrounded them, so the guy walked outside, only to find himself facing hundreds of pirate crews. Too bad for them, because they were the ones unlucky enough to run into an absolute monster. If they wanted to beat Gul D. Roger's left-hand man, they should have brought at least 10,000 more people. Those idiots told him to hand over all his treasure and get lost. They had absolutely no idea who they were talking to. A few moments later, every single fool was chopped down until only the axe guy was still standing. He wiped out hundreds of pirates with nothing but his two axes, and that is still not the craziest part. After the fight, the entire mountain had been split clean in half, without a single tree left standing. That is how he earned the nickname Mountain Eater. That is why he was known as the Pirate King's left arm alongside Rayleigh. Jinbe says he has heard that story before, and he has always wanted to meet that man someday. Little does he know, that crazy bastard is standing right next to his captain inside the castle. The gang discovers a secret passage hidden beneath the throne. Nami instantly assumes there has to be treasure down there. She even says she loves Mr. Ya with all her heart. Road asks how he even knew about this place, but the old man says he used to be one hell of an explorer. Luffy and Nami get completely fired up, convinced there is treasure waiting below. Instead, they find nothing but empty treasure chests. The old geezer laughs, saying they are way too gullible if they thought anyone would leave valuables inside a castle abandoned for years. Still, there is one thing down there they desperately want. Even the thieves who cleaned out every last treasure never touched it, because not even the most evil villain alive would want Loki running free. Then he asks Luffy if he thinks he can take that key from his hands. Luffy freezes in shock. At the exact same moment, Usopp finds out that Roger's left-hand man has been living in Elbaf for the last 20 years. The very man who sailed through every adventure with the Pirate King and saw the One Piece with his own eyes. He is none other than Skopper Gaban, the Mountain Eater, and he tells Luffy to come take the key from him if he can, because if he cannot even beat one retired old man, there is no way he is stopping Loki once that monster goes berserk. Will the rubber monkey actually defeat the legendary Skopper Gaban with his own two hands? Zoro instantly grabs his swords, ready to slice that shady old bastard into sashimi. Meanwhile, Gaban repeats that not even the worst villains alive would want Loki set free, then tells them to take the key from him if they can. Nobody knows what is going on, and even the weirdo Road asks what the old man is doing. Nami also asks if he did not bring them here to find the key in the first place. Luffy asks why he has to fight when the old man could just hand him the key. But Gaban says if he is that scared, then maybe he just is not strong enough to beat one retired geezer. Luffy instantly charges at him, yelling that he is going to make this old bastard eat those words. Zoro gets ready to back him up and remembers Colin saying his dad is the strongest pirate he has ever seen. Luffy launches himself off a pillar, flying straight at the fossil while spinning his arm like a Beyblade. He tries to grab the key right away, but the old man dodges without breaking a sweat. Luffy throws another million attacks, but he cannot even touch the key because the old-timer's observation haki is absolutely cracked. Eventually, the kid gives up and says he just wants to deal with Loki already so he can get back to the banquet. Gaban nods, saying banquets really are one of the 10 10 wonders of the world, then tells him all he has to do is take the key. So Luffy has no choice but to rush him again, and since he cannot even lay a finger on him, Gaban decides to show him how a real attack looks. He does not even bother pulling out his Mountain Eater axes. Instead, he coats the key in armament haki, leaving the protagonist completely speechless. Wondering how the hell this crusty old man has haki on that level, Nami starts freaking out, saying this cannot be happening. But Luffy climbs out of the rubble furious like a raging buffalo, yelling that the old crook caught him off guard. Gaban laughs and says that Straw Hat suits him way better than that goofy helmet with horns. The kid says, obviously, because that hat is the treasure he has to return to Shanks. But Gaban says Shanks is pretty cheap for asking somebody to return a gift. Naturally, Luffy gets furious, yelling that this idiot has no clue what he is talking about. He does not know Shanks, so he has no right to talk about him like that. Little does Luffy know, Gaban has known Shanks since before Luffy was even born. Luffy keeps trying to snatch the key from every possible angle, but the bearded monster dodges every attempt and suddenly appears right in front of him in the blink of an eye. That creepy grin alone almost makes the kid freeze. He fakes a strike from the right. The second Luffy guards, he smashes the key right down on top of his head, then rides it like a skateboard, forcing that giant key so far down Luffy's throat it almost came out through his brain, launching him so far he almost drills his way to the center of the earth. Nami cannot believe what she is seeing, so Road explains that Mr. Ya is so ridiculously strong. Even Luffy is no match for him. Zoro notices the old man finally picked up his axes, which means the real fight is about to begin. Everything up until now was just the warm-up for the Pirate King's left arm. While Luffy is twisting around trying to yank that giant key out of his mouth, Gaban starts spinning those axes so fast they almost create a tornado. The moment Luffy finally spits the key out, Zoro screams for him to watch out, because the monster is coming. Gaban unleashes Yasutokeru, a slash so absurdly powerful it would have chopped Luffy into tiny pieces, especially since cuts are one of his biggest weaknesses, and these blades are coated in Conqueror's haki. At the very last second, Zoro jumps in front of him and blocks most of the attack, but there are so many flying slashes that Luffy still has to dodge the ones that get through if he does not want to become ground beef. Walls are shredded in an instant. This lunatic is causing even more destruction than Loki's battle with King Harold. The castle starts collapsing around them, and Road actually uses his own body to shield Nami. Finally, this idiot is useful for something. With everything he has, Zoro manages to knock one of the slashes into the sky, where it slices a cloud clean in half. You know the old monster is built different when he is casually throwing hands with a Yonko and his right-hand man at the same time. But now Luffy finally realizes he has to stop messing around if he wants to beat this maniac. So he activates Gear 5th to show this crook who is really running the show. He starts strutting around like Doflamingo himself, then creates a gigantic axe that looks even cooler than Gaban's, calling Zoro over so they can finish this old fossil together. Gaban looks impressed, saying, "So this is the famous white-haired form." The two of them tell him to get ready for hell. Then they charge at him at full speed, with Luffy running beside Zoro like he is a swordsman himself. But just when they are about to beat the brakes off that sneaky, shady old bastard, he suddenly surrenders. The two of them slam face first into the wall, completely stunned. Then they crawl out of the rubble yelling at him to quit acting bipolar. Gaban just laughs and tells them not to get so worked up. It was only a joke. Yeah, a joke that almost sent Luffy straight to the afterlife. But the old geezer says the important thing is that everybody made it out alive. Then he tells the two of them to look behind them. They already have the key. Road tries to explain that the guy is actually the Pirate King's left-hand man, but Gaban cuts him off, saying now is not the time for that. He tells the two of them to come visit him before they leave, assuming Elbaf is still standing by then. The two instantly lose it, saying they never want to see that old bastard's face ever again. Luffy cannot even decide if he should thank him or curse him out for putting him through all that just for one stupid key. The old man bursts out laughing, remembering the last time he talked to Shanks. He had asked why he should trust that kid in the first place. Shanks just laughed and told him to do whatever he thought was best. Meanwhile, over at Walrus School, things are about to get really ugly, because some very unwanted guests are about to turn this happy little place into absolute hell. The kids are happily playing cops and robbers without a care in the world, because they are a bunch of little slackers. Makes the game pretty easy too, since the runners climb up a giant tree in like 2 seconds. Meanwhile, the poor kid chasing them is this chubby little cinnamon roll who looks like he is about to have a heart attack every 3 steps. And if you thought Gaban was the only guy lucky enough to pull a giant girl, you are dead wrong, my friend. Honestly, I do not even have to explain why. While the kids are playing, studying, and taking naps, something terrifying shows up. The little girls run straight to tell the chubby teacher that something really weird just appeared. They say there is some bizarre bird outside. The teacher just brushes it off, saying there is nothing strange about a bird. What she does not know is that this is a gigantic gigantic bird made entirely out of ribbons, and sitting on top of it are two gods' knights who are about to teach these spoiled little brats what real suffering looks like. Gunko notices the school ahead and says today must be their lucky day. Now they do not even have to waste time going door to door kidnapping children. They land on the grass, and Gunko immediately says it is time to begin the summoning. A completely insane amount of energy starts pouring out of her hand, and once again, that demonic pentagram appears. A horrifying cloud of smoke rises from it, slowly taking shape just like when the 5 elders arrived on Egghead. But this thing keeps growing higher and higher. It looks like they are summoning Shenron himself. The entire area is surrounded by Imu's eerie lightning. A voice comes from inside, saying he has no problem heading over. Then another guy asks where exactly they are supposed to come out, and where the Abyss portal even is. While the dragon guy is desperately looking for the portal, the other pervert is whining that he needs an hour to get dressed. After all, a god's knight cannot just run around half naked. That is Saint Summers of the Shepherd family. He is so busy talking to himself through a Denden Mushi like a complete lunatic. He does not even realize he has already been teleported. The other weirdo is Saint Killingham of the Rimoshifu family. The bearded guy is shocked, asking what Killingham is doing inside his house. Then he asks the exact same thing about Shamrock and Gunko. Meanwhile, Gunko is standing there looking all embarrassed, because the old coot is only wearing his underwear. Both God's Knights are completely stunned when they realize they somehow ended up in Elbaf. Luckily, there is a suitcase nearby with a fresh set of clothes for Summers. Even so, he gets annoyed and asks why they summoned his favorite chair too. The lizard freak looks around in amazement, saying, "So this is the legendary land of the giants." Shamrock asks Gunko why she summoned 2 idiots when they only needed 1. But Killingham explains that the captain has to return immediately. Those are orders from above. The scruffy bum says the Holy Land is dealing with a crisis and they need him back there to handle it. Then he asks what they are even doing in a country that is not affiliated with the world government, thinking maybe they came to pray at Harold's grave. Meanwhile, the kids go right back to playing like nothing ever happened. Summers says the plan is to kidnap a bunch of giant children and take them to the Holy Land of Mary Joaz. But then he asks how they are supposed to pull that off. It is not exactly like you can stuff a giant kid into a sack and carry him home. Only people bearing Imu's mark can travel through the abyss. So it looks like the only option is taking them by ship. This sleepyhead is so exhausted he can barely keep his eyes open while talking. But Shamrock says they are about to use Killingham's power to turn this entire country into one giant nightmare. In the next episode, the gang finally finds Loki, badly wounded after getting beaten down by the God's Knights. Then they are finally going to free the monster chained to the Atom Tree, so he can face the demons marching toward Elbaf. The title of the next episode is The Infamous Sinner of Elbaf. Loki of the Underworld is finally freed. Let me guess, you've watched over 100 anime and made exactly $0 from it. What if I told you there's a type of YouTube channel where you don't have to show your face, you don't have to use your real voice, and you can turn the hobby you already love into real income without investing a single dollar? Building a channel that keeps generating views day after day. It all starts with 3 simple steps. Pick an anime people are already searching for. Turn a single episode into a video people can't stop watching. Publish it using the same strategies top anime channels use to reach hundreds of thousands of views, building a view-generating machine that keeps bringing in new viewers over and over again. That's how anime channels reach millions of fans and turn a simple hobby into a real source of income. Right here in the description of this video, I've prepared a video for you, explaining step by step how you can start an anime channel on YouTube today without investing a single cent, get tons of views, and also make big money with your channel. And the best part is, I explained everything like it's inside an anime world, so even a goblin could understand. So click the link in the description and go watch the video now, because I won't leave it up for too long, alright? Don't come crying later.